Hello, today we're going to continue our property tour series with part 4 as I continue to bring you around to various different parts of our property and show you different habitat improvements and strategies that I've implemented over the past few years. You'll see drone footage as long as boots on the ground footage, and I hope you enjoy this continuation of the series. I hope you've had a chance to check out parts 1 through 3. There's looking to be at least 3 more just because these get a little long as I have so much to share with you. So I hope you enjoy today's video, and remember that it's a great day to be outdoors. To start this tour, I'm going to take you where you've already been. So property tour 2, property tour 3 is the start of the Oak Island. We went through the middle and I showed you some of the habitat improvement features. And then property tour 4, we're just going to wrap that up. Fields that surround the Oak Island, unlimited potential, map with an idea, and then property tour 1, which was along our north boundary. Gonna take some drone action now, and you can see the ATV trail and the border access trail, and then I'm going to fly up a little bit, and then I'm gonna pan over to the neighboring property, which is pines, but it's pines done right. It's thick bedding area from back in the day when I could go in there. It's good deer cover the way that they did it. Now we will fly in, so we're heading to the east, and you can make out the ATV trail, which is meandering, and then also you can make out my DR brush mowered access trail, which is as straight as I can make it, and there's our property boundary. Bedding areas everywhere, the thick popple slashings, it is thick, and they are like 12 feet tall and everywhere. First ridge, awesome travel pattern for deer, they love those ridges. Still traveling east, you can still make out all those different slashings, as long as also the hardwoods I had them leave. There's that ATV trail again, an access trail along the neighbor's pines. Flying up on our second ridge, this was a missed opportunity. Should have left some trees here for a bow stand and a bow shot, but you live and learn. In that valley, I do have a big game 1.5 ladder stand, licking branch, water hole, Cuddy Link camera set up there that I brought you in property tour part 3. Now what we're about to do is we're about to pan down hard and then look into the Oak Island. So you can see the slashings, you can see the ridge, and you can see the mix of hardwoods that they left or had them leave. We call this Oak Island because it's a peninsula, but it's surrounded by fields on 2 sides. And so it kind of feels like an island for the deer with that big ridge traveling to the northwest. Quick shot of where we're at. And then now we're gonna pan to the south. You can see the ATV trail. You can see the neighbor's pines for their bedding area. And then access trail on the left-hand side of the screen, ATV trail on the right. And then we're about to fly out. And you can see those fields with that hidden potential or unlimited potential again. And I'm excited to bring this to you today. And if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions as you watch this, please drop them my way. This is just a quick video where the kids were standing in the picture I took, just to kind of give you some perspective and to encourage you to take the leap to log. And obviously, you guys, there's got to be a right time and a right decision. And I do say is the answer to log, and it is yes, but it might not be. I'm aware of that depending on what you got for cover. One last clip, us heading out. So this is looking to the east and now heading out to the west. And you wouldn't be able to see the field even if it wasn't foggy today, but the field is 30 yards to the front of the camera. And one last turn in the trail, because I did want them to come out, if they're using this trail, close to another bow shot, which is currently in a hang-on stand. So you can kind of see the daylight at the end of the tunnel, and this is the corner of the field. And there's a lot out there on hunting inside corners and how deer are creatures of edge, and that's something to keep in mind. And another goal of mine for this channel is to show you ways I plan on creating more edge for deer. Kind of like, you know, the surface area or shoreline of a lake. You know, you want to get as much of that as you can. So we're going out to the field. We just exited the clear cut, you know, right here on the edge. We got a licking branch and a natural scrape. 20 yards over, 25 yards over, I have a hang on, and then I'll take you to the access trail next. Having mentioned some of the features, I thought I'd just do a quick drone intro. So here's where we're at, and that's the clear cut in the middle of the frame. And you can see our border. I also call that narrow strip of field the narrows. And then we're just gonna pan around so you can see more why this is called an oak island and some of the different potential for changing those fields into all deer all the time with the different food plots and habitat pockets. And then this is our border, another field edge, and another thing that I've tried to break up and want to plant trees along, planning for access and potentially other gun stands. As long as I'm panning and this foggy day, this is that clear cut that's surrounded by fields. Have some great drone footage of that and some better pictures. I know I do, but just wanted to give you more of an orientation of where we're at. This is about our property line, looking back to the west. Our property isn't a perfect square, so this is one of the edges. I just mentioned needing to find ways to provide cover. I'll talk about some of the hinges I've done. And then this is an access trail that I've mowed with the brush mower, hedge trimmer, electric chainsaw, and maybe the big saw. And then right on the edge here, I have another River's Edge Rogue hang-on stand. I do believe in these things a lot, and I have quite a few of them actually now. So the issue is, and you're gonna find this, and I'll repeat this, that you cut a trail for you, the deer are gonna use it too. So, the deer have decided that this is a nice place for them to go, and it's kind of created a little bit of an issue. I can hunt this stand with a north wind. I can get to it just fine, but you got that open field, so how do you get in and out? And then this is the access trail, and I have some summer videos of this, cutting it back. If you had more time than me, you'd probably get every stick out of here too, or if I could have the kids help me. But this is for me to get back to a water hole, licking branch, and a big game that I have. So we're through the clear cut now. We're right on the edge, and I have this trail going the entire distance all the way to the east edge, where it ends up cutting up and then going to our north-south line too. Since I worked hard on this trail, I figure I'll give you another clip. I was just standing back there, and I'm gonna take you with me up to the ridge top, where I have also a four-wheeler trail not too far in. And then another thing about a drone is it really gives you a perspective, especially like I timed it out really well with a little bit of snow on the ground, about how close together your trails are, what they look like. Also can see the deer movement, the deer trails a little bit. I'm still getting used to using mine and how to pan up and down, so I'll learn more and more from it, and I just think it's just a really neat tool to use. So we're walking back uphill, back towards the east right now, right along the property edge, a little ways in. Back in the day, my wife, my dad, and I found the fence, and so we posted it with these paper Tyvek type signs, and they don't hold up very well. I'll have a video on what kind of signs if you need to. Back when we first owned this, the property to the south was managed forest crop open, and so access wasn't even an issue. We just access through there and then pop in wherever. That was kind of fun, but also kind of frustrating, and that's why we had to post it. One last clip of the access trail. It never really did crest the ridge, which is actually a good thing. So that's looking back towards the west. And then to give you some orientation and perspective, I have a video where I said that I put my stand in the wrong spot, and this is a super pronounced deer trail, and it is between stands. And then access trail continues on that way for a ways. The big game is in that tree. And so in an earlier clip, or maybe in a different video, I was on the four-wheeler trail talking about how I had a buddy that told me I should have put a stand on the high ground, and I didn't listen to him, and now I have this and no real trees. Maybe a couple trees that I could stretch. We're on the access trail. Behind that stump's the water hole. Behind that tree is the licking branch and camera. And then now we're walking again on the border. There is nothing really on this line the whole rest of the way up and over, but you know, that can always change. And then now we have the challenge of getting access to more land this direction. You know, great problem to have, right? But we have to find a way for bow season with the right wind to get to this edge or this side of the property. And probably what's going to end up happening is I'm going to make trails that go from north to south along the road that are pretty pronounced. The neighbor already has them. I actually can see them really well with the drone, even though I've been lucky enough to be on them with them. They've taken me around their property because they're friends. So now what we're doing is we're walking again uphill, and I'm going to take you all the way to where I kind of left you off, where it goes straight back to the north for access of our existing property. So that's west, back towards the bottom of the ravine or wash or depression, back towards the big game stand. This is thick bedding area from heavy logging. You know, we had storm damage too, and now we are about to make a turn that goes straight back uphill and to the north. And I'm going to pan this way because this is my new fence line, and so we're going to have to figure some things out. And again, the whole point of this channel is to pick your guys' brains too. So I'm afraid of using an e-bike on some of this terrain. I don't have one. I know they make electric four-wheelers. I don't want to make trails too big, but maybe I should. Maybe my trails should be super pronounced along the edge and then little on the interior. That's one of the things I've thought of. So I apologize, I might be a little bit winded here. I gotta get in shape, but there's where we were in an earlier clip where I referenced having to use the big Husky, the Husqvarna chainsaw. It's my baby. So that's it. This is just a random fun clip. I remember planting these trees with my buddy. He helped me out. We planted these red pines many years ago before I was in any program, just trying to provide some kind of screening from the neighbors. And it's just neat. I love seeing trees grow. So I got these two, one more back there, and it's just a kind of a rewarding thing. So random clip, you know, love planting trees. Right now what I'm doing is I'm walking out or walking around this area that was the mix of hardwoods and popples. There is a wonderful ridge up here. You can kind of make it out. Have some red oaks along the edge that the loggers left. Used to have a bow stand out here. One of those things that was fun to go to, but you're blowing out the woods behind you. And I showed you the trails on the inside of this, and so now we're just walking around the exterior of it. Just to put things in perspective, I'm gonna do a pan of the field. I know, again, I apologize for the fog. So now we're looking towards the cattle walk. Now we're looking towards the clear cut. I'll be going over there in a little bit, have some much better footage of this when it wasn't foggy, and then probably calling it a day. There's that crow. I wanted to get that crow. Love that noise. So just a little bit further down along the front edge of this neat ridge that extends basically two directions. Extends, you know, kind of northwest and then heads straight east and then kind of curls around. Again, love topography. This property is all topography. It's all one giant hill. Another thing you learn about flying a drone is you better figure out where you're going on that flight so you don't fly into something that's higher than where you started. But just kind of give you an idea of, if I was a buck, where would I bed? I'd be able to see everything, smell everything, and run 100 different directions. So just a really neat spot, and we totally leave this alone. Now, depending on what we end up doing with this, maybe one day, way off in the distance there, a rifle stand, because it's pretty easy access. But I don't know, we'll see, and hopefully you guys will help me figure this all out. So just kind of panning out, kind of call this almost like a oak island a little bit. You know, this is primarily oaks, and then the big oak stumps are regenerating more oaks, and then transitions into popples in the back. Looking back up and towards Oak Island, Oak Ridge, this is a corner of the field, but you know, we have a lot of nice woods behind us. Left of the frame is the cattle walk towards the eastern top end of it, and then we're curling back around towards the ridge that the Banks blind is on. All right, so we're gonna wrap this property tour up like I like to do with all the other ones, and just kind of go over some of the things we talked about and different places that we've been. If you've been watching these different parts of the tour, you'll see that this map has ever been expanding. Part 1, when I took you up here. Part 2, we wrapped our way around to here and ended at the Banks blind. In Part 3, we ended up on this main trail. And then in Part 4, we ended up primarily focusing on this part of the tour, and then also wrapped our way around to these fields. As long as we're talking about these fields, again, you know, unlimited potential, with the brown being habitat pockets, the yellow being potential spots for food plots, the red being crabapple or apple tree plantings. This is an existing one. This would be a future one. The red being smaller trails, and then the yellow being the bigger trails that you'll see in today's video. So let me zoom us in here a little bit. And what I did is, we started right here on the tour, ended up coming out here, mentioning this stand, and then walked our way in along this access trail, which is only 24 inches wide and was cut with a DR brush mower. And ended up going to about right here, and then in this spot I mentioned the stand, the licking branch, which has a camera on it, and also the water hole. And then we ended up coming back out and then working our way around to this point, which I pretty much ended the tour on, but you can see drone footage of this whole, sorry, wrong way, this whole field. And I mentioned screening. I also have some hinge cuts and down in this area here, and then we're going to pick up with the next part of the property tour, and I'm just going to take you to this clear cut section and also just reiterate on what I call the cattle walk. So that'll be part 5, and then in part 6 I'll wrap us back to the south, and then eventually we're going to get out to the creek bottoms that go from south to north. So I appreciate your viewership as always, and your continued support of this channel. I hope you enjoyed today's tour, and I hope you enjoy this fun way to do it with the Google map as well. So that's it for this part. Well, that concludes today's episode, part 4 of the property tour. I hope you're enjoying watching these videos. I am enjoying bringing them to you. I've also enjoyed the comments, suggestions that I've been getting from viewers like you. So thank you, and I hope you look forward to watching future installments, as there's probably going to be a few more. So thank you for watching today's episode, and as always, it's a great day to be outdoors.